And there we go. Quentin Flynn plays a lot of redheaded characters for Final Fantasy or Square Enix. Anyways, so that's the end. I think a lot of people had a problem with the. I don't think a lot of people had a problem with the game as much as the did with um, the codec calls. There was just way too many static codec calls, and it was just a little too much after a while. And they also kind of babied you, telling you over and over, like they would repeat the same thing 3 times in one conversation. Like getting to the president or getting to the president's aide in the shell core, they had to tell you like, disguised as the enemy. They had to tell you that like 3 times in that one conversation. I'm not gonna. Gameplay has gotten better, obviously, since it started. I'm not gonna comment on gameplay being better or anything. It was a definite improvement from the first one, and a lot more enjoyable. Um, the only problem is that it was very linear. Like there, a lot of the catwalks were linear, especially when you got to the end of the game. There, like as soon as you passed fighting the Harrier, the game just pretty much went into story mode, and you didn't face off with. You weren't trying to sneak around anymore. It was pretty much just getting from point A to point B with puzzles. That's all. That's all it was. So, but I mean, even Metal Gear Solid had that problem as well. Like, pretty much as soon as you got through the comm tower, the rest of the game was just walking through areas that there were no enemies to really dodge or deal with. And I think that's why I like 4 and 5 a little more, is you actually still engage in combat and sneaking by a little more even near the end of the game. Story, obviously the story is really good, and they really wrote out a lot in terms of how it's sort of a thing on digital censorship, as you know. How far can you trust the internet information and stuff like that? Or what you know, what you really know, or is what somebody has told you to know? Um, Obviously, people didn't. I don't know why people didn't take to Raiden very much, because they said he whined a lot and all this stuff. But I mean, it was Raiden was used as a way to show somebody who's thrown into a situation that they know, like it's a situation that you're lost, you're not in control, no matter what way you look at it. And he's just reacting how any normal person would if they weren't in control. They would be pretty pissed off, and they'd be whining a lot if they weren't. Like, people don't like not. There's very few people that do not like to be in control or feel that they have some sort of control. So, people shouldn't complain. Now, when I originally saw much of the photos for this game, they did a really good job hiding Raiden, because what they did is they put all the photos were in first person view, as well as they used the digital sprites of, or they used the hand models for Snake, so you couldn't tell that it was Raiden. So they would have like a picture showing first person fighting Vamp, or the spraying coolant, but it was Snake's hands, but they changed that so you wouldn't know. I don't think anybody knew Raiden was coming. The two story split up was very good, and I really enjoyed that part about it. The tanker mission was great. The reliving the Shadow Moses thing gets stale, but throwing in the time bomb thing, you know, that's probably one of the better parts, is throwing the time bomb thing in and getting through the shell one. But after that, there's not much to the game that really changes. And the disarmament of the bomb thing was, for the time, not too bad. give a bit of variety. The trank gun though makes the game way too easy. Like you can just knock enemies out and they'll never call in or anything. Ah, there we go. This game is probably 90% story. I think I'm up to like 8.5 hours, but in terms of actual gameplay, it's probably only 3.5 hours of gameplay. So literally half of this game is cutscenes and story versus actual gameplay. But yeah, I think that's one thing people really did not like was the... Oh yeah, they had the Metal Gear Ghost Babel poster there. It's one of the things I think people really didn't like was the fact that there was just a lot of unnecessary codec calls. I mean, you're right in the front of the person. And a lot of it is purely... I'm guessing they just didn't want to animate the stuff. It was probably taking too long to animate all the scenes, so they tried to shorten it, I guess. Or maybe they just didn't have the information. One of the things I would have really loved to see is that they, even if it was in the Subsistence one, was the ability to play as Pliskin through his scenario and get to explore some of the Shell 2 areas. I think that really would have been a great idea, and they really should have did that for Subsistence. They made Snake Tales, which was okay, but I would have rather enjoyed playing more as Pliskin with an actual story, even if it was just a written, even if the cutscenes were just written context. But whatever. Game's still not that bad, not the greatest. My eyes are going funny because it looks like my TV's shrinking.
Life isn't just about passing on your genes. We can leave behind much more than just DNA. Through speech, music, literature, and movies, what we've seen, heard, felt, anger, joy, and sorrow. These are the things I will pass on. That's what I live for. We need to pass the torch and let our children read our messy and sad history by its light. We have all the magic of the digital age to do that with. The human race will probably come to an end sometime, and new species may rule over this planet. Earth may not be forever.
Squirrels!
But we still have the
Planet of the Squirrels.
to leave what traces of life we can. Building the future and keeping the past alive are one and the same thing.
I think that's about it, is it? Dun, dun, dun. Also, if you've unlocked the chapter thing, the picture of Snake in the front would actually be Raiden. Switches to Raiden.
Snake, you there?
Yep.
It's me. I've finished going over that disc.
Did you find the Patriots list?
Of course. It contains the personal data of 12 people. There was a name on it. Snake, it was one of our biggest contributors.
What?
What's going on around here?
I don't know.
Anyway, where are they?
Well, we were right about them being on Manhattan, but
But what?
they're already dead. All 12 of them.
When did it happen?
Well, about 100 years ago.
Dun, dun, dun.
What the hell?
They kind of explain that in the third one, but they don't. They don't explain who the contributor is. It's like they completely... 105 people, actually, that's not too bad. Alert mode only 10 times? Really? Holy cow. Let's continue. I think I died. I don't remember how many. 16 saves only because I'm doing a freaking LP. 12 rations? That's more than I would normally use. Normally I might only use 5 or 6. So let's see the ranking. I got Big Bear. Don't read. New items attained. Digital camera. Do I want to save? Not sure whether or not. Let's save. And no, I really didn't mind this game. It's just the long drawn out. Let's see how long my gameplay is. That's 7.5 hours. Not bad. So there we go. That is the end of Metal Gear Solid. See, there we go. Now we have writing. So anyways, hopefully you've enjoyed that. I'm gonna end it here. I can't think of anything extra to do at this point, so I don't think there's gonna be much extras. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Bye.